So we went through hell with the Chris Watts thing, and I just thought kind of a way to break that up and to do something that's a little more fun, too. Talk about a different kind of asshole.
One that may or may not be
right
an asshole.
Because you and I are so good at judging people. It seemed like the most natural progression. And where is the best place to determine who is and who is not an asshole? But the hellscape that is Reddit.
Reddit's not that bad for like 40% of it.
40%, that's a great ratio, yeah. I mean, I guess it depends on where you stumble into Reddit, you know. There are places there where it's lovely and great and fine.
And then there's this shit. Am I the asshole for not hiring someone based on how they pronounce their name?
Oh, dear God.
Immediately, I'm like, yes. Yes, you are.
Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Okay, lay it on me.
I, female 47, have worked for my brother-in-law, male 50, for over a decade. Unfortunately, I resemble a Victorian waif, which, by the way, a waif is like a homeless child, and get treated accordingly. Remember being a kid and trying to explain something to an adult and they patted you on the head, like, run along and play now, son. Except you're in your late 40s and everyone, even your own family sometimes, have treated you that way your whole goddamn life. I admit, I am hair trigger about it. We needed to hire a new part-time receptionist. The current receptionist, Jenny, recommended diaspora for the position. I am unfamiliar with that particular word as a name, but language is a constantly evolving thing. I asked for her resume, which lists her name as Zebra with a Z. Zebra came in for an interview 3 days later. Everything started fine. I introduced myself. She shook my hand. She was well-dressed and, at first, respectful. I was hopeful. I opened by asking how she pronounces her name. She replied very quickly, and it sounded like Debra. I asked her to repeat herself. I wanted to give her the respect of getting it right, and that was very different than how Jenny had pronounced it. She did, the same way. I repeated it back, and I genuinely believe I got really close, but apparently not as Zebra then clucked her tongue, rolled her eyes at me, and told me very snottily, just call me Zebra. Exactly like Deborah, but with a Z. Jenny's recommendation carried some weight, but come on, that was a legitimate job interview with her future boss, and she rolls her eyes. I have to wonder if she's going to do that to every customer who mispronounces her name if she's willing to do it to me. We hired a lovely gal who responded to the job posting online. She started yesterday, and today Jenny asked me why we didn't hire her recommendation. Zebra is apparently crushed that she didn't receive a call back and thought the interview went amazing. I explained what happened and was informed that I am a bit of a jerk, as Zebra is hair trigger about her own name the same way I am about being talked down to. I should have given Zebra some more grace, according to Jenny. At dinner, it was a pretty even split. Brother-in-law and me think Zebra was way out of line with the tongue click, let alone the eye roll and tone of voice. Dad and sister say they can see Jenny's point. Younger brother says to see what Reddit thinks, as he sees both sides. So here I am. Reddit, am I the asshole for not hiring Zebra?
There's a lot more to unpack here.
Yeah.
Because she starts by saying, you know, that she was lovely and seemed qualified and what have you. So if the sole reason why you have said, you know what, we're going to go a different direction is because of her name, that's kind of an asshole move. Like, I can understand kind of feeling put out by you're in an interview, you're supposed to be presenting your best self, you're supposed to be professional, like getting a little kind of butthurt
and
about
you,
the
roll your eyes.
Yeah, the rolling eyes, clicking the tongue. But, girl, you asked her to repeat her name 3 times. Right? So it's not necessarily like you asked her and she immediately jumped to it, even if, you know, it is something that's bothered her for a very long time, having a name that people commonly mispronounce, what have you. You should understand that because you have something else that people have always done to you that's bothered you, that when you keep getting it going on and on and on, that you're going to get, like, frustrated by it. So if really the only thing that she did in that interview that bothered you was after 3 times asking this girl to say her name that she showed frustration, I wouldn't say you're really an asshole. Like, I don't think anybody's really an asshole here. I just think that you're both kind of unprofessional. Because, like, to roll your eyes, to click your tongue, yeah, it's unprofessional. I understand why it was done. But when you're in a job interview, sometimes you kind of have to play the acting card, and you have to just, you know what, just say it. You know people are going to ask. Yes, it's frustrating.
Yeah, because when you think about it, she, like, this woman who made this post said it herself. It's exactly like Deborah, but with a Z.
Right.
That's it. Shouldn't have been that hard for you.
Right.
And the lady said that she just wanted to do her the justice of saying her name properly or whatever. Okay, but you wouldn't give her the grace of understanding that you hit this trigger for her, like, multiple times.
Right.
Because, like, asking somebody the first time, that's one thing, you know, but just continuing over and over again, you wanted to make her feel included or whatever by asking how she pronounced her name, but you're not going to recognize that you caused her to roll her eyes. And, like, yeah, like what we were saying, like, she probably should have saved the eye rolling for later, but it seemed like that was just a heat of the moment kind of thing.
Yeah.
It just really upset her.
If you're so used to that mispronunciation, because my married last name was pronounced one way, but spelled kind of like, I can understand people getting confused by the way that it was spelled, and you get used to it when people are like when they mispronounce it, you get used to that. So the only thing I can think is that Zebra could have done immediately is when somebody says, hey, how do you pronounce your name? Give them something so it makes it easier to remember so they don't have to ask again, especially if it's a frustration for you, and there is an easy way to kind of absolve them of having to ask all those times about, I'm sorry, what did you say? Just say, it's Zebra. It's pronounced exactly like Deborah, but it's with a Z. Say that the first time, then you don't have to be asked 2 additional times and get to the point where it's frustrating, where it's like, dude, it's just Zebra. So, like, I always got to the point of, you know, with my last name saying, hey, it's, you know, it's this, it's spelled like this, but it's pronounced like this. I just said it before people had a chance because I knew they were going to either ask a question or just assume and mispronounce. So, like, that's an option to prevent that going forward, but in no way is she obligated to do that.
My last name is Pekarski. It's Polish, and everybody messes that up.
Like Anderson or Smith or, you know.
Yeah. It's a Polish last name that not a lot of people have. And I think where the woman who wrote this post was struggling is she was overthinking it.
Well, and I think you kind of hit another point here when you say she was overthinking it, because she was overthinking it so much because she carries this own baggage on her shoulder about how people perceive her based on how she looks, that she so wanted to make sure that she wasn't annoying Zebra. That's exactly what she did. She annoyed Zebra. Yep. She overthought this so much that now we're seeking advice on Reddit. So, again, I don't think anybody's really an asshole. I think they both just kind of, I think this was just, it just comes down kind of to poor communication between the two of them. And, you know, I'm sure Zebra was crushed not getting this job. It just means, girl, you're going to get an even better job with somebody who's not going to be so wrapped up on trying to make sure that they're not stepping on toes, that they're stepping on toes. It just means that this wasn't the job for you. This wasn't the place for you, but something better is going to come along. And it sounds like OP did find somebody for the job. Great. But she may have missed out on a really good employee with Zebra just because she was so hung up on this name issue, because she said she seemed great. She was qualified. She probably could have been a really good fit for the company. OP was so hung up on this name and wanting to get it right that it derailed the whole thing. I think they both just are very, very sensitive about certain things about themselves, which that probably wouldn't have been a good working relationship anyway.
Yeah. And I also saw a couple people in the comments say that you're the asshole, but not for not hiring her, but for discussing the details of this interview and why you didn't hire her with a third party, which is also super unprofessional. Right,
exactly. An interview room is like Vegas. What happens in the interview room stays there if you are the employer.
Oh, my God. Sorry, I just got some more context. Turns out, not only did she not hire her, she marked the resume as do not hire entirely.
Okay, never mind. I take it back.
Yeah.
I cannot stand these unreliable narrators where they tell you what they want you to hear instead of the truth. She's trying to bury the lead.
Yeah, and it says the rest of the interview with Zebra was honestly no worse than the interview with the girl we did hire. Yeah, you're absolutely the asshole.
Yeah, never mind. Never mind. Asshole. Am I the asshole for refusing to meet my BF's friends unless they apologize to me?
My initial prediction is no.
A couple weeks ago, a 24 female, boyfriend, 27 male, friends found a Tinder account with my pictures on it and matched with it. I have not met my boyfriend's friends yet, but they know what I look like because my boyfriend showed them pictures. They showed my boyfriend the account, and my boyfriend called me immediately to tell me about it. I haven't used Tinder in over a year, and Tinder is supposed to delete inactive accounts after 7 days, so I knew it wasn't mine. His friend also messaged with the account that weekend, but I was with my boyfriend watching a movie at the exact time, so my boyfriend didn't really believe the account was mine either. But his friends weren't convinced that I wasn't cheating. I could hear them yelling things through my phone, like, "Make that bitch prove herself. Your girlfriend's a whore," along with other really degrading names. My boyfriend told them to shut up as I was on the verge of tears. I went on FaceTime with all of them while the friend messaged the account. They made me show my hands and phone on the video call the whole time. The catfisher messaged them, and I was proven innocent. None of them apologized to me. They only apologized to my boyfriend, which felt even more disrespectful. Apparently, those friends are hosting a party this weekend, and my boyfriend wants me to meet the group for the first time. But I don't want anything to do with them until they apologize to me for calling me names. My boyfriend understands, but also says that it would mean a lot if I could at least give his friends another chance, since they were actually just doing their best to support him since he had been cheated on in the past. Would I be the asshole if I refused?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I hate it when men, especially straight, cis men, which I'm assuming they are. I know that might be a big assumption, but I'm just going to go with that assumption.
Trust your gut, yeah.
Yeah, trust my gut, because I don't know very many non-straight cis men who call women bitches, whores. I don't like that at all. That immediately gives me the ick. Absolutely not.
Huge red flag.
Absolutely not. Right. Huge red flag. I do understand them wanting to support their friend if he'd been cheated on in the past.
Right.
However, that is absolutely the worst way to go about it.
There's an update.
Oh.
Are you ready?
Yes.
So much crazy shit has happened, and I've just been trying to process it all. I don't even think y'all are going to believe what went down. After reading through the comments on my last post, I told my boyfriend again that I was not going to the party because I felt disrespected by his friends and was disappointed that he did nothing to stand up for me. My boyfriend apologized to me and made it up to me by spending the weekend with me at my place instead of going to the party. He told me that after he quit his job, he would not contact any of his friends who refused to apologize to me. None of them did. His apology seemed genuine, and him not going to the party convinced me that everything was good, so I didn't break up with him. Flash forward to a few days ago. My boyfriend and I were lying together in bed, and he was on his phone messaging some of his friends while I was watching TikToks. At one point, I glanced at his phone while he was scrolling through his text and saw that he had sent a bunch of screenshots of my pictures from Instagram to someone. Even from far away, I could tell that they were pictures of me. I didn't think much of it and even thought, he's showing his friends what I look like. I was so dumb. So before we went to sleep, I jokingly asked him, hey, why were you sending my Instagram pictures to your friends? He went white, and there was so much panic on his face. I immediately knew something was up and made him explain. Apparently, he sent my Instagram pictures to his friends so that they could make a fake Tinder account to see if I was really cheating on him. Because he had been cheated on in the past, he felt so insecure in our relationship that he wanted to make sure I didn't have any dating apps or was doing anything shady behind his back. He thought the confrontation would scare me into a real confession. But he didn't want to seem like the bad guy with major trust issues, which is what he is. So he had his friends confront me for him while he pretended to be on my side the whole time. They saw my reaction to it all. I was literally on the verge of tears the entire call and did not confess to anything they accused me of, and they decided to play it off as a catfish. So congrats to those of you in the comments who guessed right. The friends made the fake account. I didn't believe it at first because I had no evidence, and I hate making fake assumptions about people. Ironic, isn't it? I also thought that they had no way to get pictures of me since my Instagram is private. But how the fuck was I supposed to know? My own boyfriend was providing them to frame me. Needless to say, I dumped his ass. He cried the whole time, which was admittedly satisfying to watch, but also painful. Thanks for all the support. Wish me luck in therapy.
Holy shit.
God damn. That is a whole new level of insecurity. Like,
my jaw dropped.
The audible gasp when I got to that part. Like,
my jaw was on the fucking floor.
And
hold on.
Wonder why I'm single? Yeah, these are the guys that are left. Be safe out there, kids. Be safe out there.
Yeah,
so,
be fucking safe out there.
She genuinely had so much trust in her boyfriend that, you know, even after, like, initially after, you know, he's like, oh, let me make it up to you and spend time with you. She was willing to stay with this asshat who didn't make his friends apologize. And the fact that the friends would go along with this, like, I totally understand standing up for your friends. I get that. But when you're creating the problem, then you're the problem. Or I guess I should say you're the asshole. But yeah, that was a journey. Like,
yeah, that was fucking crazy.
It boggles my mind the way certain other people's minds work. I need therapy after that story.
Good luck in
even
therapy,
my story,
babe.
I feel like I need therapy. Like, Jesus.
Good luck in therapy, babe.
OP, you are not the asshole. You are a wonderful, wonderful person, and there's a good man out there for you somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Or woman.
Or woman. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe just change teams for a bit. You never know.
And now a word from our sponsors.
Are you looking for a brand new adventure-based Roblox game? Can you find Claire? Has anyone heard of Claire? Is a work-in-progress exploration-based storytelling game. It'll be a multi-mapped, multi-functioning game with aspects such as first-person shooter maps, where your goal is to survive as long as you can and kill as many entities as you can. Obby maps, where you can jump across various platforms to find the secrets of the world you're in. Horror maps, where you can see the dark side of this foreign world, and many, many more. Can you find Claire?
Am I the asshole for telling my sister-in-law that I will not accommodate her food allergies and she doesn't have to come?
I'm inclined to think no, but again, these titles really can throw you for a loop. So let's let her cook, I guess.
Don't know if I'm the asshole or not for this. Usually my mom will host for Christmas, but this year she can't keep up. My sister-in-law has been in the family for years, and in my opinion, she's a food snob. She has multiple allergies, nothing life-threatening, just unpleasant for her. Since we all understand allergies, we make sure to keep everything separate and not cross-contaminate. We don't want her to risk eating something and instead of getting a rash, she needs a hospital visit. Now, the reason I think she is a food snob isn't due to her allergies. It's nitpicking the dish my mom makes each year. I've watched her year after year. She makes backhanded comments about the food. My mom told me to stay out of it, so I did. 2 years ago, there was a mess up. It was a huge deal, and last year my mom wanted her to bring her own dish since she was worried she would mess up again. This caused a huge fight between them, and she threatened to pull the grandkids away if she couldn't be a good host and give something she should eat. My mom caved. The dinner came and went, and she got backhanded comments about the food. My mom can't host anymore, and none of my brothers were doing it, so I stepped up. I gave sister-in-law a call and told her she needs to bring her own meal. Told her I'm not experienced handling allergies, and I cannot guarantee the food will be safe, so I will not make her something. I didn't tell her, but the other reason was I don't want her bitching about my food. This caused an argument about me being a horrible host. I made it clear I wouldn't accommodate her, and she doesn't have to come. My brother is pissed, but my mom laughed when I told her.
Go, Mom.
No, you're not the asshole.
No, she's not the asshole. The sister's
Yep.
kind of an asshole. Like, I have so many weird food intolerances, and I make it very clear these are certain ingredients I cannot have. If I'm going somewhere and everybody else wants to enjoy something that I can't, like I have an allergy to vinegar, which makes shit really complicated. I can't have ketchup. I can't have vinaigrette dressings. Like, there's so many foods that include pickles. Can't have pickles. There's so many simple things that I can't have that I'm not going to deprive other people for. Most of the time when I'm going to like a dinner party, there's side dishes and things that everybody's sharing and whatever, and there's always a way that I can find something that works for me. However, the sister went a step beyond and just said, hey, here's the thing. I'm not well versed in your allergies. I can't make that guarantee for you. She told her in advance, I don't want to risk you getting ill. She was appropriately addressing it to the sister, even though in the back of her mind she's like, you're going to be a condescending bitch about this anyway. She was being a good host and saying, I want to make sure that you're healthy if you're going to come. I want to make sure you're safe. So she did the opposite. She was being a very good host, making sure that the sister understood these are the requirements here. I'm not your mother. I'm not going to make a whole separate meal for you day of because you want to nitpick certain things about what I made that are within your restrictions. She's going to find a way to bitch regardless. You're setting boundaries right away that this is how it is if you're going to come to dinner here. If you can't abide by those guidelines, don't come. Yeah. If you want to be around your family, then maybe you should pull the giant stick out of your ass and quit being so nitpicky about everything with everybody and just enjoy being around your family.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I mean, clearly the issue isn't even the allergy. She just wants to find something to be the center of attention about. If you have a way of making it so that everybody can enjoy a meal and you can accommodate those allergies, great. But if you can't, you've set the boundary. You've set the expectation. You were being a good host and you're not the asshole.
Agree.
Am I the asshole for telling my son that he is obviously gay?
Sorry.
I mean, it's not subtle. It's not a subtle title. There's some heavy lifting in this title.
I'm so sorry for this.
Oh, shit, I killed her.
Okay, I'm ready.
Are you sure?
Okay,
You're good?
Yeah.
My son, 17 male, has apparently been in the closet for the past 7 months. So my son is fairly masculine, straight acting, if that makes sense. However, he's very obviously had a boyfriend, 18 male, for the past 7 months. He sometimes baby talks to this boy, hugs him all the time, has called him handsome, shares clothes, sits way too close to each other to the point that they're basically cuddling. He closes his bedroom door when with him, but not with other friends, sees him like every day, buys him gifts, and for the past 7 months now, he always smells great, has his hair fixed really nice, and dresses nicer, among other things. Today, I asked my son if he was going to invite his boyfriend on our trip, and he got awkward and said, "That's not funny." I asked what he meant, and he said, "I'm straight. That's not funny." I laughed, and when I realized he was serious, I started laughing even harder. I told him he was very obviously in a relationship with a guy and did a terrible job at hiding it. He got emotional and started asking me not to tell his dad. My husband already knows, like I said, it was obvious. Then he got upset, saying outing him when he wasn't ready. He said he hasn't said a word to me in a couple of days. Am I the asshole?
I don't know. Honestly, what do you think?
He was dubbed the asshole, and that's as far as I know at this point. My take on it, I kind of agree. I appreciate the fact that it was done in private, but regardless, it's kind of outing your son when he might not be ready yet, and you're kind of forcing your son to say the thing out loud that he may not be ready to yet. And while I don't think your intentions were malicious in any way, you have to let your kids come to you with these things. It's not your place to tell your son when he should tell you that he's gay. That's not your story. Like, that's very much his story, his journey. And when he was fully comfortable with it, he may have come to you. But I think at the end of the day, she's a good mom. Like, they didn't bat an eye. It was obvious my son's gay. So I think she genuinely loves her son and wants what's best for him. So that's never going to be, like, you're an asshole. But I think that this wasn't handled well. And the thing that kind of hinged me to I would agree with the asshole mark is she laughed at him when he said he wasn't gay.
Yeah.
That's kind of shitty. I think her heart was in the right place, but her approach abso-fucking-lutely sucked.
I agree. The only reason why I'm, like, hesitant to say, like, you're definitely the asshole is because it was, like, yes, it was outing him technically, but it wasn't really because it was just between the two of them.
Yeah.
Which is still, like, coming out, but it's not outing somebody publicly, which I would definitely be like, holy shit, wow, that's so fucked up, you know?
Yeah.
And I would even think that if it was in front of the dad, you know?
Yeah.
But I understand the mom being like, it's a safe space or whatever. I understand the mom thinking that and thinking, like, oh, why doesn't my son know that? Like, I was scared to come out to my dad when I realized that I liked girls. Like, it's not that I thought he was going to actually be mad. It's because you hear horror stories all the time.
Right.
And they get in your head.
Yeah. I did find, like, the top comment here, I think, kind of sums up kind of all of it. And they did dub this person the asshole. When I was 17 and watching TV with my parents, out of the blue, my dad turned to me and said, "You know it'd be okay if you were gay, right?" I laughed it off, said okay, and went about my day. Within 6 months, I was questioning. It took several more years before I was comfortably calling myself bi and coming out to friends and family. I think I must have given off vibes to my parents for Dad to come straight out and say it like that, but at no point in time did he assume, make comments alluding to, nothing. I was given time and space to reach that conclusion on my own. You took that away from your son. Instead of saying something to the effect of, if you are, cool. If you're not, cool. We love you regardless. You forced him to confront that identity before he was ready. You need to stomp this shit out before it spirals. Let your son know what I said above, that however he chooses to identify is okay with you, and that you love him regardless and will take any future cues on how to proceed from him.
Mhm.
And I think that kind of sums it up. I don't necessarily agree with calling it an asshole. I think this is more, like I said, I think this is just more, this is a mom who's being presented with, I think my son is gay and I want my son to know that it's fine. And she tried to do it in a very passive way of, hey, is your boyfriend coming with us on our vacation? So clearly they're cool that they're willing to bring this boy on vacation with their son. So I wouldn't say asshole. I would say this was
misguided.
Exactly. The other point with that comment is true as well. You need to go back to your son now and say, hey, I didn't realize that you weren't ready to have this conversation. Your dad does already know. We know you so well, and we see how happy this boy makes you. You know, this is all between us. If you're not ready to have that conversation, we don't need to, but we love you regardless, gay, straight, in between. It doesn't matter. You need to have that conversation, and you need to apologize to him, because clearly this made him uncomfortable, and clearly he was not ready to say the thing out loud. And the other thing that needs to be said, and why having the conversation is important, your husband used to say that he's okay with it too, because your son's first reaction was, don't tell dad.
Mhm.
So he needs to know that you guys support him, and when he's ready to say the thing out loud, that he can.
Yeah.
You know, that's all you can do. It's not your story to tell.
When you want, we're here for you.
Right. Yeah.
And I do agree with what you were saying, that, like, laughing at him probably wasn't a very good idea, but,
yeah.
you know.
But she put it in the story as if it was no big deal that she laughed, you know, and that's the only thing where I'm like, that was not a good take. That was a bad take, too. Your son said, I'm not gay, laugh in his face. What if he weren't gay? And you laughed in his face?
What if that is just his bestie for the restie?
Right. I have so many female friends that I say that I love and I hug, and, you know, the times that maybe they're closing the door, maybe it's not because they're being affectionate. Maybe the friend is going through a tough time and he wants to share things, you know, with your son in private without prying eyes, because clearly there's no such thing as privacy in your house if you're going to out your kid. You know, you don't know, you know, and it's, you never assume those things, you know.
Because at the end of the day, she really does not know.
Right.
The only real clues she has is that, which is circumstantial, and please don't tell dad, which is also circumstantial.
Right. Right.
He could have been saying, like, please don't talk to dad about this, because it's not true.
For the parents out there that think their children might not be completely cis, straight, what have you, you just need to cultivate an environment in your house that no matter what your children do, you're going to love them unconditionally. Remind them of that fact every day without bringing gender or, you know, sexuality or relationships into it at all. Just be like, no matter what you do, I love you, I support you, I'm in your corner. That way when something comes up that they feel is not a societal norm and they're concerned about saying the thing out loud, well, mom said she'll love me unconditionally, so I'm going to do that. At the end of the day, you know, our role as parents, it's been the thing to say as a parent, I love you unconditionally, and I don't understand parents who put conditions on that. There's not much that either of you kids could do where I wouldn't love you guys. I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. Like, there are things that you guys, you know, could do that would, you know, be like, wow, I wish you hadn't done that, but you're my kids and I love you regardless. And I think that's the point this mom was trying to get to. She just, like you said, she did it in a very misguided way, but I don't think she's an asshole. I just think this was a really bad take.
I agree.
Yeah. It was nice to, like, do something that wasn't as heavy as, like, a true crime video, but in some ways, some of these Am I the Asshole posts, if they don't come to Reddit and be told that they're assholes, they may lead to our next true crime video.
That's true.
Be safe on Reddit and don't be the asshole.
Yeah. Don't be the asshole or something. We'll figure it out.
We'll workshop it, and I suppose if anybody has anything better they can say, they can maybe throw it in the comments for us to be like, hey, maybe you guys should say something like this. But since there's nothing better to say, until we do this again, don't be an asshole.
Don't be an asshole.
Best you can. Raise your right hand for me if you would. We can swear you in.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, thank you. I'm just going to ask you a few questions. First of all, tell me your name.
Casey Marie Anthony.